Hi Christine. You okay? I'm going to drop you a quick message after I finish this live, okay? Just so as you know. Hi Sandra. Hi Sarah. Nice to see you all here this afternoon. Hope it's a bit warmer where you are because it's freezing here. Don't like the winter. Roll on summer. Mind you, will it be much different? I'm fine, thank you, Christine. Just had one of those weeks where nothing's gone right, so I'll message you later. Nothing drastic, don't worry. Hope you're all okay. I'll just give it a couple of seconds, or shall I just crack on? I think I'll just crack on, to be honest. It's going to be on YouTube later, so not going to be a problem. Right, so this is the card we're going to be making. Can you all see that okay? Do I need to zoom in a little bit? Perhaps I do. Let's just a teeny weeny bit. Just so that you can see all the detail a little bit better. So, this is a card I'm making today, and obviously I know there are people that can't celebrate Mother's Day for whatever reason, but just remember that you can adapt this card. You can put any name on here, you can use it for any occasion. It's just the idea that I'm giving you. So don't just think it's a Mother's Day card. Hi Julie. It's one of those, you know, the idea is there, you can use it for whatever you want to use it. Yeah, well, I chose not to colour them in today, partly because I hadn't really got time this week to sit and do any colouring, but I also wanted to show that you don't have to colour them in if you're not very good at it or you don't like colouring. There are different ways of getting around that. So let me just run through what I'm going to be using to make this card. Now the first thing that I'm going to be using is one of Lisa's Mandala Doilies dies. Really useful die sets these. They are interchangeable. There are two sets that are interchangeable with each other. The one that interchanges with this unfortunately is out of stock, so I'll stop there, but there are two others, so there's 3 lots on the website at the moment, and they are really useful. I particularly like this one for this sort of card, and you don't have to use the whole thing. You can snip out the background so that you've just got the trellis work behind it. Hi Tina. So you don't have to use the whole of the doily if you don't want to. You can just use the trellis and just snip it away. I've done that on one of my ragbook pages quite a while ago. It is on YouTube, so if you want to nip back and have a look at that, then do. So that's the basis of my card. And then once again I'm using this fabulous Florals stamp and die set. So there are 14 stamps on here, and they also have 14 matching dies. Now these are on the website and they are in the sale. I forgot to say this Mandala is also in the sale. This is half price. It's only $7.49 at the moment. But if you want one, be quick because there's only one in stock at the moment. So the Florals stamp and die set, as I said, there are 14 stamps and 14 matching dies, and these are also in the sale, half price, $14.99, but bear in mind you're getting dies and stamps, so $14.99 for all of that I think is a really good deal. But again, if you want them, be quick, there's only 2 left in stock at the moment. Now my flowers, I'm using, by the way, this one, the Sweet Pea, which I love. Claire used this on Tuesday. And then I'm using this little stamp here, because I just think it's just a quirky little flower stamp that will probably get forgotten, but I'm using this on the background of the card. But it's I just think they're really useful to just tuck in behind like a floral display if you wanted to. So I've stamped these and die cut them onto some of Lisa's fabulous Pretty Petals papers. They're 6x6 papers, and again still on the website. They are fabulous colours, and this design, this marbling effect, I think is just so useful in so many different ways. There are some fabulous colours. I can't flip through a pack for you because I haven't got a full pack. I might have to order another pack of those, but we'll see. Beautiful, beautiful quality, and they die cut really, really well. So those are the papers. I'm also using the stitched alphabet, which will be showing us out of stock on the website at the moment, but I know that Lisa's had a delivery of these today, and they are busy counting and stocking up, so hopefully they will be back on the website very, very soon. Keep an eye on your emails. Hi Wendy, if you've signed up on the website to get an email when things come back in stock, keep an eye on your emails, because when the email comes out, these will go quickly because they are so useful. So if you want them, keep an eye on your emails. Then I'm also using the beautiful bee panel, but I'm only actually using one of the bees. I've actually snipped it out like Heidi did on Wednesday night. I do enjoy cutting out the bees and just using the bees, but that doesn't mean to say that you're going to waste the rest of the panel, because I've die cut the whole of the panel and then I've just snipped the bee out. You could put that on the base of your card and put one of the double layered stamped sentiments over the top of that. So if you wanted to still use a DL card, you could do that, or you could put it in the middle of a larger card. So don't think that you've scrapped the whole die, you haven't. You could just snip the other bees out and just use little bits of the honeycomb if you wanted to as well. So don't think you've wasted that, because you haven't. There are numerous ways of using that. And then I've used, for my sentiment, the wordage sheets that Lisa bought out recently. These are also still on the website. I think there are a few left, not many, but these have got some particularly pertinent sentiments in for this time that we're going through at the moment, and I do think there are some fabulous sentiments in there, so that if you wanted to send a card that isn't necessarily a birthday card, then you could use some of these sentiments. So I've used Enjoy Your Special Day on this one. I'm using a different sentiment on the card that I'm doing today. And then just to finish it off, because I can't do a card without pearls, I'm using the candy pink pearls out of the set of 3 that Lisa bought to you not so long back, and I know there are plenty of those still in stock, so if you wanted to get hold of those, you can. So those are the things that we're using today. So first off, I'm just leaving my card so as I can see it. I'm going to do the base of the card. Now I've already done all the die cutting, because you don't want to sit here and watch me die cutting or listen to me die cutting, because you won't be able to see it on the camera. So I've already done my die cutting. So there's my doily. Now what I want to do is I want to do some stamping behind the doily. Now I don't know whether you can see this on here. If I just tilt it backwards and forwards, I'll just wait for my camera to catch up. But I've actually used some of Lisa's interference mica powders on here. If I just move that around, you can just see the stamping in the background. You can see it better in real life. But I just think it gives a little bit of interest to the back of the card so that it's not completely blank. So that's what I'm going to do first. So in order to make sure that I get it in the right place, I'm putting my doily down here, and then I'm just going to secure it in place with a little bit of low tack masking tape so that it doesn't move. And this is the piece that I cut the doily out of. So I'm just going to put this back round here, like so. And then I'm just going to secure it in place so that I know it's wonky, but it doesn't matter because I'm not using this piece to make any markings on the card, all I'm doing is using this piece so that I don't stamp onto the white card when I stamp in the background of my doily. So I'll just leave this, put that down like that. Then I can take my doily out and I know that it's going to go back in the right place. So I'm going to stamp these with Perfect Medium because I want to use the interference mica powders, but I want it to stick to the card. So this Perfect Medium is ideal for using with mica powders. And what I'm going to do is stamp half of it, put the mica powder on, and then do the other half and put the mica powder on that, so that none of it dries in between me stamping and adding the mica powder, because I don't want this Perfect Medium to dry, because it can dry reasonably quickly. So I'm just going to go across the middle. It's a bit time consuming, but I think it's worth it because it just adds a little bit of interest to the back of the card. So you can see now why I've used the surround from the die cut, because occasionally I'm going over the edge of the shape and I didn't want it to be on my card where outside the doily. So I've just used this piece that I cut it out of to give me a surround that I can stamp over and not worry about. So if I just do this last line, and then I can add the mica. Across here, and all of a sudden you just see these little stamped images appear out of nowhere. I love this. I think it's so effective. And of course, with them being interference micas, although I'm using the green powder, I don't think it's going to look green when I've finished, because this one that I did looks green in some lights but looks sort of like a purple colour in other lights, and that's the beauty of these interference micas. I absolutely love them. I think they're so effective without being intrusive. I've actually probably stamped a few more on this than I did on the original, but it's not going to matter. It's only just to provide a little bit of background interest, so it's not like the main part of the card, but just a little bit of something different in the background. Because if you're looking at sweet peas on a trellis, you'll see something behind them, won't you? Depending where your trellis is, of course. I know my grandma used to have sweet peas in her garden all the way up the garden path, and the smell was just divine. They've always been one of my favourite flowers. So let's just brush that over there, add a teeny bit more. There we go. See, dead quick and simple, but effective. So now all I'm going to do is just brush off the excess to leave my stamped images on the background of the card. Now, before I take that off, I'm just going to put my doily back where it needs to be, and I'm actually going to glue it into place so that I know it's going to be in the right place, and I'm not going to miss anything. I'm not going to go outside where I've stamped all those background flowers. Hi Natasha, no problem. Hope you're okay. Hi Helen. So this is a little bit fiddly, but it doesn't take too long. Now I'm not going to add glue on the crossovers of this trellis. The only place I'm adding glue is just to the crossover points, because I want to use the trellis to tuck the flowers into when I add the flowers to the card. So I want the trellis to stick to the card, but I also want to be able to use the crossover points. So that's why I'm only adding glue to where it crosses over. Okay, so then I can pop that back in there and know that it's in the right place for my next little piece of the project. And then I can take that away and I can get rid of that. Now the mica might have slipped through the card underneath the brown card, but don't worry about that. It soon brushes away and you won't see it. Okay, so there's the basis of my card. So now I'm going to add my flowers. Now with these flowers, what I would suggest is that you die cut them first and then stamp them. Purely and simply because, I mean, I've done it both ways and it works both ways, but I just think it might be a little bit easier to die cut them first and then stamp the image. So I've just die cut 3 here just to show you what I mean, because if you stamp them first, then you've got to make sure that you put the die cut in exactly the right place. Whereas if you die cut them first, you can see the outline of the die cut when you come to add your stamped image. So, and I've got to be honest, I haven't stamped these perfectly every time, but it's not going to matter, because when it's on a card with everything else, you really won't see it. So you'll see here, I don't know whether you can pick it up on the camera, but there's like a little lip all the way around that die cut, and that's the I think it's about 1 millimetre, just excess, so that it cuts out the flower and it cuts the whole of the flower. You can just about pick it up on there. So what you're aiming to do is stamp inside that actual shape. And as I said, don't worry if it's a little bit outside, it's not going to matter, so long as you've got the main stamp on your die cut piece. There you go. See what I mean? How that has stamped inside that little lip. Can you see that? I think that's the easiest way to use these stamps and die cuts, because the flowers are so small. I think it's easier to do it this way round. So I'll just do one more. You watch this one go wrong. But I mean, I was doing them quick yesterday, so I didn't take as much time as I could have done over them. See, that one is slightly off, but when you've got it stamped with, arranged with all your other flowers, the chances are you're not going to see it. You're not going to notice that it's slightly off. There you go, that one's... I think the more you do, the better you'll get at it. So practice makes perfect, and if you want to practice it before you use your papers, do it on copy paper. But I mean, that one's a perfect stamped image within the lines of the die cut, and I just think that's the easiest way to do it. So just a little tip for you there. So let's move on. I'm going to add these. I like to lay them out before I put them down permanently, just so that I can get an idea of what the colours are going to look like, how they're going to look on the card, whether I've come down too quickly, whether I need any more, whether, you know, just to give you an idea of where you're laying them. And I think that's okay. So I've got an idea So I move those to one side in the order that I place them down, and then I can start and add them and glue them into place. So I use my tweezers, and I'm using the tweezers just to lift the trellis, so that I'm not pulling it away from the card too much, but I'm just giving myself enough. Well, I would if my glue hadn't decided it was going to play up. So the one thing I like about this pin flare glue, it doesn't do this very often, but when it does, it's a bit of a pain, but never mind. There we go. So I'm just going to add these to my trellis. I'm just going to lift that there so that that slides underneath the trellis like that, so that it's giving it a little bit of extra security, and it's sort of, it's doing what it would do in real life, if you know what I mean. That, you know, they grow behind trellis and in front of trellis all at the same time, don't they? So that's what I'm trying to just replicate if I can. Hi Heidi, no problem, hope everything went okay. So I'm just adding these to my trellis, just how I laid them out in the first place. Thanks for the links, Natasha. Hi Anne. Yeah, hey ho. I don't say that too much, do I? Natasha's told me about that before, and I have tried not to do it. But whatever. We all have our little foibles, don't we? Now, don't forget that tonight at 7 o'clock, our lovely Lisa is doing a live, and she's going to be showing you all the fabulous new products that she's bringing to Create and Craft next Monday. Don't forget also, it's International Women's Day next Monday, and I think International Women's Day means presents, treats. I mean, it's International Women's Day, why wouldn't you treat yourself on International Women's Day? I know I will. I have to say that a bit quietly, just so nobody can hear me saying it in the house. Although, to be fair, he's pretty good. He knows it keeps me happy. So I'm just adding my flowers in just a random sort of arrangement, just to fill one side of my trellis, because I only want to use one side, because the other side is going to have my word on it. And then this last one, I'm not worried about it being behind the trellis, because my extra little embellishment is going to hide this. So I'm just going to add this one on the top. Okay, so it's a quick way of adding colour to your stamps without having to sit and colour them in. Not that I wouldn't colour them in, I love colouring and I find it very relaxing, but there are times when you've got to make a rush card, or you don't feel like colouring, or your mojo's completely gone. This is a quick way of adding colour to your stamps without having to sit and colour them in. Yeah, I'm very conscious of it now, Sarah, so I try not to do it anymore. So the next thing I'm going to do is add my mum on the side of the card here. And when I did the original, I looked at it last night and I thought the word looks a little bit lost because it's so pale, and I've tried to use colours on the letters that match the colours on the flowers. And the way I did that was just inked up a piece of card, and I used my oxides, and I've used 3 colours: the New Kitsch Flamingo, Tumbled Glass and Squeezed Lemonade. And all I've done is randomly brushed them onto a piece of card and then just cut them out. But when I came to look at the card last night, I did think they looked a little bit lost. So today I've added an extra layer of the same colour card that the trellis is cut from, so that they stand out a little bit more. And I think that makes them, I just think it makes them pop a little bit. And I've matted and layered them at a slight angle, and that's what I like about these dies, because they've got the stitching on them. If you look, when you layer them up, if you layer the top one to line up with the stitching on the bottom one, you know that it's going to line up all the way across the die cut, because the stitching is even all the way around. So if you line this side up, all the other is going to follow. That's what I like about these. So I'm going to add these now to my card. I did toy with the idea of putting them 3D with glue gel, but I decided against it, primarily for posting reasons, because obviously the fatter the card, the more it's going to cost you to post. And much as I love mother and mother-in-law, I'll have to watch the pennies as well, because otherwise I won't be able to afford to buy all my Lisa goodies, and well, they're top of my priority list, so hey, that's what I spend my money on. I'm allowed to treat myself. So there we go, just add my word. And all these techniques, all these elements are so simple and yet so effective. They just make a card just that little bit more special. Now you could, if you wanted to, add a butterfly on here. I've got one cut out here. I'm not using this one because it's completely the wrong colours, but this is from the Edgecuts Butterfly Die Set, which is still on the website. And this again is a fabulous die set, and particularly with it being an edge cuts one, it'll cut down the edge of your card and leave your shape down the side of your card. I love those. But I don't want to use a butterfly. I'm going to use the same as I used on yesterday's card, and I'm going to use a bee. Now when I watched Heidi the other night, she said she was using some film, and it set me thinking, I'm sure I've got something like that somewhere. So I raided all my craft drawers and I found it. And I just think, I agree with Heidi. I think bees' wings are iridescent, aren't they? Sort of like all insect wings are quite iridescent. I mean, it's got quite a yellow colour to it, but when you add it to your card, I think it loses that yellowness and it just gives a shimmer. So now I am going to add this 3D, because I want him to sit proud of my flowers. I'll drop the lid to my glue now. And again, like Heidi's done, I've just added a piece of card on the back. I'll have to find my lid in a minute. Just to give me the colour of the body, and then add the little bee to the corner. Like so, because let's face it, bees love flowers, so why wouldn't you use a bee? That was my thinking anyway. So then I've used, as I say, the wordage sheets, and I've used a different sentiment on here because I haven't been able to get to see my mother-in-law recently, and she's not very well, bless her. She is 93 and struggling, so we have to make do with phone calls, but it's not ideal, but it's all we can do at the moment. I just hope I get a chance to go up and see her soon. So I thought this sentiment was better for her card than the one I used for my mum's card, because my mum is a little bit younger, well, quite a bit younger, and she will enjoy her day, so that's why I used a different I keep going to say centimetre, what's the matter with me? That's why I used a different sentiment on her card than I've used on this one, so there's reasoning behind what I've used. So then I looked at it and I thought, no, it's a little bit plain. So I'll do what I normally do, and I'll just add my pearls. Now obviously I can't add pearls to the top right hand corner because I've put my sentiment up there, but I don't think that matters, because I think so long as you've got some sort of balance, which the pearls will give you, it doesn't matter how you balance it or what you balance it with, so long as you've got some sort of artistic balance on your card, I think it'll look okay. So there we go. This is my second little bit of micron there. I'm just going to use a rubber on that, that'll bring that off. I try Lisa's residue eraser actually, that'll probably fetch that off better. So there you go, there's my second Mother's Day card, which looks slightly different to the one I made yesterday, but equally as pretty, I think you'll agree. So what else have I got to tell you? Don't forget Lisa's on her page tonight at 7 o'clock live. Thank you Christine, thank you Sarah, thank you Jean. She will be revealing all the products that are coming to TV next Monday, International Women's Day. The shows are 10:30 and 3 o'clock. Please, if you can't watch them live, try and record them, and remember that the show pick, the main bundle, always gets reduced in price. Always, always, always. So if you're looking for making a purchase but you want to save some money, then wait till the bundle comes down. It's usually the evening before. Occasionally I think it's the morning of the show, but just keep your eye on the website. I know that sometimes it's better to just order it and pay a little bit extra, but if you can afford to hang on, then do, because I think the difference in the price will make a difference as to whether you buy the bundle or just one or two. I have a feeling that things will be available separately, but I'm sure Lisa will cover that for you later on this evening. Don't forget that Claire will be with you Tuesday, Natasha will be with you Wednesday because she alternates with Heidi on a Wednesday night, and then I'll be back next Friday. And the last thing I want to say just before I go is don't forget Lisa's bingo challenge, which is running for the whole of March. There is a bingo sheet in the album and you just have to pick a line, vertical, horizontal, diagonal, but you must put what you've chosen in with your photograph. So when you add your photograph to the album, don't forget to add which line you've used, because if you don't add that, then we can't choose your card as a winner. So give it a go. Please use Lisa's products. I'm sure you've probably got one or two by now, but make sure you use Lisa's products on your project, add it to the album, and then somebody will be winning a fabulous prize, which is I think worth over £30 from one of Lisa's new releases. I have no idea what it is, but I know you won't be disappointed, so please give it a go if you can. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel because there's loads of inspiration on there, and I will add this to said channel later on this afternoon. So have a fabulous weekend, enjoy Lisa's live later, and I hope you get to watch the show on Monday, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining me today. See you soon. Bye.